Weebs are weird, and by weird, I mean really weird, especially when it comes to fetishes that I have seen mostly from the anime community. Ugh. But I'm not here to go through a list of fetishes that weebs have. I'm here to talk about you sick freaks that are into sisters in anime, and not stepsisters, because that's not incest, but actual blood-related sisters, and that's just like your whole fantasy. But yeah, I'm bringing it up for two reasons. One, it has something to do with the manga that I'm going to review today. And two, y'all are dumb. If you have Siscon fantasies, you've probably never had a sister before. Because real life sisters are annoying as hell for the most part. And if I still haven't convinced you that being a Siscon is something that an otaku should never hope for, this manga will definitely do that. I will also preface this by saying this manga is gross and disturbing at times, so if you can't handle violent and sexual stuff, then understandable, just thought I'd warn you first. And please subscribe to the channel before we get into the manga review. I'm so gosh darn close to 1,600 subs. It would mean so much if we could reach it soon. Now let's get into it. Did you think you could run after Reincarnating Nii-san is a run-of-the-mill isekai? Except that it isn't. It starts off with the usual dude in front of a goddess saying, "Yo, sup diggity dog? It seems you've died," telling the main character that he died from a truck. But unlike a normal isekai where the main character is like, "What the heck, man? I died. Oh, shucks." This guy just starts laughing, saying it's finally over. But yeah, the goddess gave him the rundown, pretty much told him his life sucks so he would be blessed in the next one, but then suddenly the main character started having a mental breakdown, asking the goddess where his sister was. You might be thinking, oh, he cares about his sister, how cute. But when the angel tells him that she died with him and is going to be in the same world as he's getting reincarnated to, the main character grabs the angel screaming, "What the hell have you done?" So obviously this dude is shooketh and spooked by his sister. But why exactly? Well, it turns out before they died, the sister was in love with him. So in love, in fact, that she was willing to kill to preserve their love. Or should I say, force her feelings upon him. Literally torturing and killing girls that so much as looked at her brother, and forcing him to have sex with her, kind of treating him as her slave. And since the angel seemed to have known all this, she warned the main character to hide, don't overdo it, and to make sure she never finds him. As if this all couldn't have been avoided by you not sending her to the same world as him, but no, you did that shit. It's all your fault, broski. So the main character reincarnated as a newborn baby named Jack, to be raised by very wealthy and very loving parents named Callum and Madeline, and always being taken care of by their maid named Annalie, or Annalie. It was an amazing life that Jack had always wished for, so amazing that he swore he would truly become Jack, a kid his new parents could be proud of. And even though he's not supposed to be doing anything out of the ordinary, he got fucking superpowers. Cause it's not a real isekai MC if he's not overpowered, am I right? Except in Jack's case, he's a baby with a grown adult mind. But lucky for Jack, this wasn't too out of the ordinary. He just had one of the many powers available in this world's power system. I'll spare you the details and explain it the short way. So the spiritual arts is the power system in this manga, that in their bodies there exist spirit fragments that are there since childhood. And the way it's explained in the manga is that the power of the spirits that is in you is treated as a part of your body. And it manifests as powers and stuff. They explain it a bit more, but I'm not the greatest at explaining this. I'll maybe put a couple pictures explaining it on the screen right now. Jack's spiritual art allowed him to float and make other things float and stuff like that. There is more to it, but like I said, I don't feel like explaining the entire power system. But Jack vowed to use his powers to protect everyone from his sister. Everything seemed to be going perfect for Jack, especially since his sister never did find him. Needless to say, his sister found him. You see this nice girl, Annalie? Well, that's his sister, and she's fucking crazy. She brought Jack to the middle of the woods alone and said, "It's been 15 years, hasn't it, Nii-san?" and scared the shit out of him. So needless to say, Jack was, like I said, scared to death, and being in a toddler's body with the sister who's tortured him for years. But unless he fought back, the cycle would never end. And that's what he did. And you might be thinking, oh man, he's an overpowered isekai MC. He's just gonna beat her ass. You gotta remember, even though he is the overpowered isekai protagonist, he is in a 1-year-old's body. So he obviously has struggles in combat, and the durability and stamina and everything is just bad. The next couple chapters showcased a brilliant fight between Jack and Annalie, which utilized both of their spiritual arts to the max, and it was awesome. Also forgot to mention Annalie's spiritual arts has to do with fire and stuff. It's pretty wacky. I will also say that this fight brought a lot of good art to the table. Looky here, here, and over here, please. The fight kind of ends with Jack unlocking. Don't get me wrong, that sounded all nice and normal, like wrap it neat with a bow, like, oh, it was just a fight real quick, nice, we won. But I just gave the abridged version. The actual entirety of the fight is super insane. Also, I know right now you're asking me this: Eddie, did you just really spoil the death of Jack's sister? Well, yes. And actually, no. See, I'm just now getting to the point of the series that the sister is still gonna chase after her brother no matter what. As at the end of the 3rd chapter, after she dies, she says, "Oh, I died," breaks the 4th wall, and says to anyone who's reading this, "See you again in the next life." So obviously she's gonna come back for more, finding a way to keep coming back and seeing her brother again. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is where I stopped reading when I first read this manga. As when I first started reading this, there was only a few chapters translated. The manga only started last year in 2020, and it's a long wait for English translation, so it makes sense. I didn't know either of these things at the time. I just assumed it was an older manga that made 3 chapters and was done for. And to be honest, I was satisfied with that. A great story with a somewhat open-ended ending that also breaks the 4th wall. But when I went to reread this for this video, I realized 3 or 4 more chapters had been translated since my last read, so I read them and got scared, as the last couple of chapters were heading dangerously close to harem manga material. It featured a time skip, so Jack is 7 now, introduced a big titty elf and a girl close to Jack's age, and there was a lot of sexual harem-like stuff in those chapters. But the end of the last chapter that was translated back in July did show the MC suddenly waking up behind bars of sorts in prison, which is most likely due to his sister. So hopefully if the chapters after that ever get translated, we will see some crazy stuff. Alright, time to get into the breakdown of this manga. First off, the art. Come on now, this is probably my favorite thing from this manga. It's such a good art style that excels in showing how twisted the sister is at moments. It's also good at drawing god damn! Next, I'll introduce you to the cast. We got our main man Nii-san, his batshit crazy sister, Jack's mom and dad, Angel Lady, and the next 2 characters are from that little harem I was mentioning, so after the time skip, but they seem cool. Teacher with Tig Bitties, who's Jack's dad, had teach Jack more about the spiritual arts, and Nice Girl, who's also learning spiritual arts and seems to like Jack a lot. The writing in this manga is pretty good, to be honest. Some people might find it way over the top, but I find it great. Minus some of the harem-ish stuff, but I watch harem a lot, and this manga has nothing on it. Only 2 girls. Pleh. Rookie numbers. Also, I think the harem-ish stuff was just a distraction for a few chapters to trick you into thinking Jack's life is all nice and dandy again before his sister ultimately returns. But yeah, the way they write the sister is aimed to make you scared of her, and they do that job so well. Overall, I enjoy the writing. The pacing in this manga is nice and fast. It just feels a tad slow at times because chapters never come out, which I'm not complaining at all. I know manga be hard as fuck to make. Like I mentioned earlier, the last translated chapter was back in July, and I think the translation group that was working on it is in shambles, so I don't know if we'll get another English chapter for a while. Nothing bad to say about the translators though, don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful to them for translating these chapters. I was just letting you guys know that we may never get another chapter in English. And the Japanese is at like chapter 10 right now, so don't expect too many chapters from that either. But honestly, the first 3 chapters themselves could be the entire story, and I'd be satisfied with it. Or maybe I've just convinced myself that since the first time I read it, there was only the 3 chapters and I had to live thinking that was all there was, but who knows. So did you think you could run after Reincarnating Nii-san readable or laughable? Oh my god, it's so readable. As wacky and disturbing or overly sexual it can get, it's just so fascinating that when you read it, you just can't stop. I really hope the manga keeps going until it reaches a goated ending someday, because even though the release schedule is slow, not blaming the mangaka, just saying the facts, each chapter feels longer than it is because there's so much action and stuff that happens packed into these chapters. I really admire the pacing because, like I said, even with the few harem-ish chapters, it's already heading back into some crazy shit, it seems. And even during the harem chapters, it was building up to showing Jack learning more about his powers and getting way better at using them. And even one of the characters they introduced, the elf lady, seems like she'd be a crazy asset in battle. But yeah, whenever the next chapter gets translated, it's gonna be insane, because I was looking at the later untranslated chapters, and I mean, I couldn't understand shit, but I could understand that it was heat, that it looked crazy. Well, that's all I really got for today, so if you enjoyed, please press the like button. How many likes do we want today? How about 25 likes? I know that might be pushing it a bit, but let's go for it anyways. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, because like I said, we're almost at 1.6. Huge W. Also, let me know in the comments if you enjoy these manga reviews. I want to do more of them in the future and improve on them a lot, so yeah, let me know. So yeah, guys, Have a great day. Don't reincarnate with your crazy ass sister, and peace.